Hi everyone, my name is Jordana Mendelson. I'm the director of Espacio Culturas. On behalf of Assistant Director Marina Garde and our entire team, we want to welcome you to the first event with this year's KJC Chair in Spanish Culture and Civilization, Silvia Sopale. The title of our program tonight is Blackness, Art, and Activism in Spain. Officially inaugurated in 1983, 4 years before the center itself opened its doors, the KJC Chair in Spanish Cultures and Civilizations was established by NYU as an endowed visiting professorship that brings to our campus each year an eminent scholar of the history and culture of modern Spain. In recent years, our understanding of eminence and scholarship have expanded to include outstanding artists, musicians, and writers who are recognized for their contributions in Spain and abroad, and whose attention is on both their specialized audiences as well as the broader public. With Silvia's chairship, we are excited to introduce to our NYU and NYC communities an actress, playwright, producer, and activist who centers performance as a tool for dialogue. While at NYU, Silvia is offering an undergraduate seminar on la intersección de prácticas artísticas y activistas en España, and will lead a series of public events, this encounter being the first. Welcome, Lucas, who's joining us. On February 26th, Silvia will present her play Blackface y otras vergüenzas as part of Latea's MLAK Festival at the Clemente Theater downtown. And on March 13th, she helps us welcome artist Ruben Bermudez and novelist Lucia Embomio for a conversation about lo personal y lo colectivo. And at 5 p.m. before their events, we are honored to open the exhibition Afro Mayores, a multimedia oral history project dedicated to Afro-descendent Spaniards, produced by Lucia, Jose Oyono, and the photographer Laurent Leger Adame. Silvia Sopale is many things to many people. She is a Spanish Afro-descendant actress, writer, and cultural organizer. Born in San Sebastian, she currently resides in Barcelona and performs in Spanish and Catalan, and soon in English as well. She is a member of the Academy of Performing Arts of Spain and the founder and director of Periferias Cimarronas, the first Black theater in Spain, as well as the founder of Hibiscus, the Association of Afro-Spanish and Afro-Descendants, and director of the Black Barcelona Festival. She is also the founder of Tinta Negra, a collective advocating for racial diversity in performing arts, and a member of Tic Tac, the workshop for critical, transfeminist, anti-racist combative interventions. So we're gonna hope to see some of that tonight. The combative interventions. I'm waiting for it. In tonight's presentation, you will learn much more about Silvia and her work. She has also become, to me, a very dear friend who over a year ago welcomed me to Periferia Cimarrona to view an incredible work, Black Man Solo, a fierce one-man play by Afro-Cuban actor and writer Malcolm McCarthy. Over wine and tapas, as one would hope in Barcelona, after his piece, we talked for hours, and it was there, I think, that Silvia began to imagine what spending a semester at NYU with us might feel like. Time to think, dialogue, and recharge in a shared space of respect and cultural linguistic exchange. Imagining our center as an open space, though our patio is too cold to enjoy tonight, where we welcome everyone with open minds, embracing the richness of sharing diverse perspectives, I want to extend that warmth to you all and invite you to do the same as we officially welcome Silvia to NYU. Joining her tonight is the incomparable Jeffrey K. Coleman, Associate Professor of Iberian Studies at Northwestern University. It is thanks to Jeffrey's long support of Silvia's work that many of us were first introduced to her solo piece, No es País para Negras. Jeffrey specializes in contemporary Iberian Spanish and Catalan theater and popular culture. His first book, The Necropolitical Theater, Race and Imagination on the Contemporary Spanish Stage, explored how the intersections of race and immigration manifest in Spanish theater from 1991 to 2016. He is currently working on 2 book projects. The first, Racial Simultaneity, The Consumption and Rejection of Blackness in Contemporary Spain, explores the ways in which Spanish media, popular culture, and literature have portrayed and appropriated Blackness from the early 20th century to the present. The second, Liquid Identities, Bottling the Nation, which I think is a really fabulous title, explores wine as an avenue through which to understand the complexities of Spanish history and culture, And I'd like to highlight just two of his endeavors that are extra academic, since I am a fan of these that Jeffrey has endeavored to bring to the world. He co-founded the Milwaukee Wine Academy, which, quote, aims to create educational space for wine enthusiasts and wine professionals, particularly those belonging to marginalized groups. And his podcast, Tinterias, which if you, like me, are a fan of fountain pens and stationery, is a must listen. It's really beautiful. And he features like an ink every month. So this evening's program, first Jeffrey will share his thoughts about Silvia's work, and then Silvia will take us through an illustrated lecture, followed by a discussion that they'll have together, and then we will open it to a Q&A to the public. After our program, we invite you to join us for reception in the atrium. Again, please help me welcome Silvia and Jeffrey.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay, fantastic. It's quite different to be giving a talk at 7 p.m. This doesn't happen in the Midwest, so yeah, this is a whole new life here. I'd like to begin by thanking Professor Jordana Mendelson, Marina, Sasha, and the rest of the staff here at the Espacio de Culturas for inviting me here to NYU. The last time I was here, 5 years ago, I ended my talk referencing Silvia Sopale and her play No es País para Negras as an example of a work that critiques and dismantles Spain's simultaneous consumption and rejection of Blackness. So it is absolutely incredible to be here today sharing the stage with her. Before Silvia joins me, I'd like to speak briefly about the context in which Silvia's work has shaped my career and consequently shaped the field of Iberian studies. So in 2017, I spent the fall in Madrid doing research for my first book, The Necropolitical Theater, which delves into how Spanish playwrights used theater to discuss immigration from the 90s to 2016, but end up doing so in ways that create a firm racial hierarchy steeped in death. I spent a lot of time at the Centro de Documentación Teatral, or the National Center for Theatrical Documentation, watching lots of old VHS tapes and some DVDs of plays and interviewing playwrights about their works. One playwright, Oscar Galan, from the Basque Country, introduced me to an organization called the Black View, an association of Black actors, actresses, and artists. Upon meeting that group, founded by Armando Buica and Pilar Montañez, it was recommended that I go see a play called No es País para Negras. I was immediately intrigued by the poster's central image, juxtaposed with the two questions above: what is it to be a Black woman in Spain, and do Afro-Spaniards exist? I immediately bought a ticket for the first available show on September 15th. And I just want to quickly talk about the image because it is quite jarring. There was actually a bit of controversy when this poster came out because some folks didn't realize that it was a Black person in blackface and simply thought that it was a very violent image of a white person doing blackface, although blackface is quite common in Spain in many contexts. And so I think there's something subversive about the fact that Silvia put herself in blackface to announce this play, but that's something we can talk more about later. The play is a semi-autobiographical journey from childhood to the present that demonstrates the difficulties of Black womanhood in Spain. For the sake of time, I won't dissect the whole play, but I would like to play a clip from No es País para Negras that encapsulates a major issue with the Black experience in Spain and the struggles therein.
Negra soy, negra, española, vasca, catalana y olé. Y en mis 40 años de vida, me han preguntado si soy dominicana, congoleña, brasileña, puertorriqueña, cubana, neoyorquina, francesa, portuguesa, pero jamás, nadie nunca me ha preguntado si soy de aquí. Negra, sí.
For an American audience, it is generally unfathomable to assume that a Black person is not from the United States, given this country's history and the enduring legacy of African Americans. However, in Spain, Blackness is continuously read as new. Black citizens such as Silvia has spent their lives constantly having to prove their connection to the nation, while also encountering many along the way who don't want them there in the first place. Through a series of vignettes that the play traverses, we witness how viewing Black people as perpetual arrivals and constantly treating them as outsiders is damaging. After the play, there's always a talk back, which in that evening lasted almost as long as the play. One memory that is ingrained in my brain is that of three young Black women from Valencia who had taken the AVE to Madrid to see the play. They cried as they addressed Silvia, saying that the play made them feel seen, made them realize that they weren't crazy for feeling uncomfortable in certain discussions with men they had dated or with the families of those men. Most notably, they discussed having encountered white women like the mother of Jose, who's pictured here. It's a one-woman play, so Silvia plays all the roles. And like the mother of Jose, who spoke to them as if they were idiots and were shocked that they were even native Spanish speakers. That evening, even white audience members opened up about not being good enough allies when microaggressions were used towards Black friends, coworkers, and even family members. After the talk back, I got to sit down with Silvia and some friends chatting about theater, race, and life in Spain in general. The play was a cathartic experience already, and the talkback and the post-show chat made me see firsthand the power of theater to change discourse on race in Spain. The play's impact has stretched far beyond Spain in recent years, as the play has toured across the country and even into other countries such as Germany and here in the US. In 2019, Teatro en Sepia, an Afro-Argentine theater collective, staged No es País para Negras dos, using Silvia's title as a launch pad from which they could discuss the Afro-Argentine experience. I had the honor of editing and publishing this play in a special issue of Acotaciones, which is one of Spain's premier journals on theater, so that more scholars could study the presence of Black Argentines in cultural production. And actually, a few volumes before, Silvia's play, Blackface y otras vergüenzas, was also published in that journal. It begs to question if we will see more plays from other Spanish-speaking countries or even other European countries in the future that capture the nuances of Black womanhood in distinct national context. Silvia's work moved me to find a way as an academic to contribute to societal change. Up until that point, I had been somewhat known as an immigration scholar, which is not a title that I have anything against, but I was really trying to move the field to think about race more specifically, instead of thinking about the perpetual arrival of people to the country. And so in 2019, I co-founded a research group called Trece, the Taller de Raza, Etnicidad y Ciudadanía en España, or the workshop on race, ethnicity, and citizenship in Spain, to create a space for colleagues and students in our field to discuss the ways in which race operates in the country. We've now organized 2 Race in Spain symposia. This picture is from 2022, the first symposia that hosted at my institution at Northwestern University. And actually last semester in the fall, we hosted another one at The Ohio State University. And the next is planned for fall 2026. So be on the lookout for a call for papers soon. No es País para Negras, as well as Silvia's other works that you will hear about momentarily, are crucial for understanding the pervasive nature of anti-Blackness in Spain. Her work has greatly influenced my second book project, in which I theorize racial simultaneity, in which mainstream Spanish society actively consumes and rejects Blackness at the same time. It is the simultaneity that is the totality of Spanish anti-Blackness. It is within this that it can be understood, and it is also from that same space that Afro-Spanish artists such as Silvia and many others are dismantling racial structures in Spanish society. With that, I was going to keep my remarks very short because I want to make sure we have enough time for our conversation and for many questions that I'm sure we will get. I'd like to pass the podium to our KJC chair in Spanish culture and civilization, Silvia Albert Sopale.
Oh my God. Ah, mhm. Hi, good night, good evening. I want to thank Jordana Mendelson, Marina Grande, Sasa, and the rest of the team for welcoming me to NYU University. I also want to thank Jeffrey Coleman for joining me in this conversation and for making me stay here possible, as he was the person who introduced my work to English-speaking academics. Thank you. I want also thank you all of you to be here. Who I am not going to thank is Pedro. Pedro is Don Pedro, and Don Pedro is my school English teacher. If when I talk something you don't understand, you can shout Don Pedro, and I repeat. Okay, we're gonna do it. When Jordana invited me to come, she didn't just invite me to work. She invited me to dream bigger, and not just for myself, but for hundreds, for thousands of people to imagine that might be possible. Hi, Lucas. When I was invited to be the Spring KJC chair, whether intentional or not, a message was being sent to Afro-Hispanics community, a growing population over 2 million people, according to estimates from African and Afro-descendent civil society. Just as Jeffrey observed in his writing about me, the impact my play had on the young woman who attended performance of Nuestros País para Negras in Spain, my presence here now generates the same impact. When a part of the population is systematically ignored and rendered invisible, knowing that someone out there recognize your existence gives you the courage to resist. You follow me? Oh, Don Pedro, no? Okay. Coming with me here today are the women who inhabit the periphery, those who refuse to let society impose the pursuit of excellence as the only form of belonging. What does it really mean to be excellent? As Bell Hooks states, education as a practice of freedom requires recognizing and valuing the experience of those who have been marginalized. In Spain, academic and artistic excellence is built on exclusionary parameters that prioritize the accumulation of culture and economic capital over the diversity of experience. The question remains, what kind of family heritage must one have to achieve excellence? How much sacrifice and pain must be offered in exchange? We, the woman of periphery, cannot allow the pursuit of excellence to become our search for El Dorado, a pursuit that turns into chronic dissatisfaction, generating an infinite debt to a system that does not consider us with its standards of success.
I really feel comfortable here in New York because here I am part of the stories that people take pride in. Whereas in Spain, those same stories bring us shame, and we try to hide them. Here, coming from the bottom is not something you be ashamed of. Building something with the support of your own people through your effort, a theater company, a community festival, a black theater, is something to be proud of. That is where I come from. Silvia Albert Sopale. Vasca, catalana, alicantina, guineana, nigeriana y olé. Daughter of Fatima Sopale, a Bubi woman from Equatorial Guinea, and Vicente Alberto Adena, an Igbo man from Nigeria. Both of them migrant to the Iberian Peninsula in 1973. My father's last name is not actually Alberto, it's Edeth. However, he changed it to sound more Spanish and thus be able to get a job, just as so many migrants in Spain have done and continue to do. I am actress by vocation, a playwright of the social responsibility, and a director of a obligation. In September 2015, we premiered No es País para Negras. For this time, under the direction of Carolina Torres Tópaga y Chechu García at the Novembre Vaca Festival in Barcelona. After the play remained on hold for a year because it wasn't quite the story I want to tell. After that time, we reward some scenes, remove others, and brought it back to the States. This piece has been performing in Spain, Colombia, Germany, with over 300 performances and hundreds of post-show discussions. For me, the discussion is not an extra. It's a part of the play. In this space, where the conversation continues, where what happened on the stage transformed into a real dialogue. In every place where performed, I invited Black people from the community to continue the discussion after the show, and how Jeffrey told, sometimes the discussion lasted longer than the play itself. At one point, I had to make a decision. White cisgender men could not speak during the discussions. Why? We don't know why. Because it's necessary to give a space to other voices, especially women, and above all, black women, brown women, gypsies, the ones who almost never have spaces to speak, and often find it even harder to start the conversation. In some performance, we also reserve the front rows for black and racialized people. First, because they often arrive late. And it's not always for a reason, yeah, we know, but often due to factors such as living further away, relying on public transportation, or having longer and less flexibility work hours. But also because in Spain, there is deeply rooted idea that black bodies should be on the back of the room, as if we were inconvenience. No es País para Negras has been translated into English and German and is part of the several compilation of Spanish playwrights. One of the things I love most about this piece is the adaptability to any theatrical space. We have multiply versions on the starring, ranging from a production with the video projections and closed circuit camera to a version in which I simply tell the story without the need for additional devices. Initially, the piece wasn't designed like this, but it's becoming a powerful tool for inside conversation about rights, and it was imperative to bring it into any space, even outside the theater. Parar de pararme. In December 2020, we premiered Parar de Pararme, a commission by Sos Racismo to denounce racial profile in Spain. From the moment I began performing this piece, I have the feeling that I was not the right person to tell this story. As young, racialized men are the ones most affected by these identifications. So when I had a schooling or conflicts, I took the opportunity to pass the play to another actor. In this moment is Malcolm McCarthy, with who was Jordana talking before. In this piece, we integrate the discussion within the performance itself, using tools from the theater of the opposite. I am very interested in activating a Spanish audience because one of my theories is that we are so used to seeing violence of television that when something happens around us, we are unable to react. Additionally, Additionally, in Spain, we have an enormous fear for making mistakes and looking ridiculous, with further limits on ability to respond. For this reason, in my performance, I encourage the audience to participate actively. They make We make conversation, ask them questions, and have them perform small actions. This is a real practice for their life. In September 2019, we premiered Blackface y otras vergüenzas a la Sala Fénix de Barcelona. There are three versions of this piece. The piece is documentary theater and incorporates techniques of metatheatre. There is no discussion in this play. Those who come to see it on the 26th of Latea in Clemente as part of the MLK festival will understand why. Entenderéis el porqué. For this piece, we held an Afro premiere. According to the information I have, this is the first Afro-centered theater production in Spain. To achieve this, we searched for a professionals working in the performing arts, in costume design, set design, and lighting, but we found none. Developing a professional career as a performing arts techniques in Catalonia is highly complex. In addition to training, one must speak Catalan to work or in official venues. Function as a mechanism of segregation. Access to formal education is also difficult. Public institutions require Catalan, while private ones have high costs, excluding those fewer financial resources. With this in mind, we reached out to members of the Black community in Barcelona, professionals in their respective fields, but mostly without experience in the theater world. We assigned them work in sound, costume design, video, blah, 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 while also intruding them to the dynamics of the theater. Cuentos de la Periferia is a play we premiered in December 2022. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie warns us about the danger of a single story. In Cuentos desde la Periferia, I rewrite and revise traditional African folk tales from an Afrofeminist perspective to adapt them to modern times. For many children, the only contact with Africa is through literature, through stories. If those stories only depict a homogeneous Africa, frozen in time and disconnected from its own diversity, we continue to reinforce a limit and colonized imaginary. In October 2019, at the Center of Cultura Contemporánea de Barcelona, de CCCB, I premiered La Moreneta. It is not just a performance, it is a confrontation. The Virgin of Montserrat, the patron saint of Catalonia, they call him La Moreneta, and she is black. Or so they say. Some claim her color is the result of time, smoke, transformation. Others argue she is women figure darkened over time. A black face? In this piece, I bring this ambiguity to the body, to the space, to the present. How does Catalonia treat black women living in its territory? How do people pray to a black virgin while rejecting blackness in everyday life? The performance does not seek answers, it seeks discomfort. A space where body and image collide with history of politics. If La Moreneta were a living woman, would she be embarrassed or excluded? Given the context, this piece could only exist in Catalan. Not a gesture of belonging, but as provocation and a direct challenge. Mahmoud. In September 2023, at the Teatro Price in Madrid, we premiered Mahmoud y No Solo Mahmoud, a commissioned piece for a circus company. It is an adaptation of the book of Partir para Contar by Mahmoud Traoré, in which he recounts the 3 years it took him to travel from Casamance to Seville. The book is beautiful, but in my opinion, it lacked an exploration of the reasons behind that journey. So we worked with Sani Ladam, who had also written a book, his migration journey in La Luna está en Duala, where he delves into the political and socioeconomic reasons behind forced migration. Loto, un ritual de emancipación corporal. In September 2024, at Periferia Cimarronas in Barcelona, I premiered Loto, un ritual de emancipación corporal. It is the first piece where I am not alone in the state. In this work, I am accompanied with Rogelio Lorda, a Cuban dancer based in Barcelona and a great, great, great artist and better person. In this piece, I use my body as an archive, my physical and emotional memories to address the themes of aesthetic pressure and fat phobia. Influenced by the theatre I saw in South Africa, particularly the Black Circus of the Republic of Bantu by Albert Ibowe Tosa. If you don't know them, you have to know it. It's incredible work. And seeking to break away from the European structure of narrative construction, we draw on the Bobé funeral ritual from Equatorial Guinea.
Lotón, 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 ¿a dónde quieres huir? ¿Dónde quieres huir? Todo el día corriendo. Corres, 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 suplicas ser la escogida. Corres hasta la playa, corres a la montaña y por la noche corres a esconderte. Pero la noche gritó, no puedo protegerte más. La noche no te cobijará más. La playa gritó, no puedo protegerte más. Mis aguas no te cubrirán más. La montaña gritó, no puedo protegerte más.
I don't know, it's continuing to talking. Okay, yes, I think we're gonna continue the conversation there. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvia, for running through your professional trajectory with us. So I have a series of questions for you, kind of touching upon all of these topics, right? Blackness, art, and activism, and we'll kind of weave between them all. The first question is about activism. Anti-racist activism in Spain essentially starts in 1992 with the death of Lucrecia Perez Matos. For those of you in the audience who are not familiar, she was a Dominican migrant in Madrid. She was 33 years old, arrived and was killed by 4 men, one of whom was part of the Guardia Civil, after being dismissed from her job, and was living homeless in the ruins of an old nightclub in Aravaca, a suburb of Madrid. And it was that crime was in the news and in legal precedent noted as the first official hate crime in Spain. And so it really marks a before and after, particularly for the black community, as she was of black descent. But it also is the moment when you start to have anti-racist organizations start forming across Spain, such as Sos Racismo. So I wanted to ask you, how did that crime affect you in that time, but also how has it influenced your work as an activist and an artist?
When Lucrecia was murdered, I was 16 years old, and I living with my parents in Alicante, about 400 kilometers from the Four Roses nightclub, where the murders took place. I have no memories um, of that moment. It wasn't until I got involved in anti-racist that while walking through Madrid after watching Black Panther with a group of black people, I walked alongside Rubén H. Bermúdez, the autor y tú porque eres negro. We passed by the Plaza de los Cubos, a square that was once full of neo-Nazis. But now we could walk through it peacefully. That was when Ruben told me about Lucrecia and what it meant for him to walk through that square without fear, without having to run, because at least the neo-Nazis had left that space. It wasn't until I began researching for my theatral works that I connected that moment in Madrid with what was happening in Barcelona. In Barcelona, in late 1991, a few months before Lucrecia murders, Alphonse Arceli, a Haitian doctor resident in Cambrils and a member of the Socialist Party of Catalonia, discovered the body of a man embalmed at the Banyolas Museum. He immediately launched a campaign to repatriate the body. He wrote to the Tomb Hall, threatening to contact African countries and boycott Banyolas as the venue for a rowing during the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. Both stories are present in different pieces. Lucrecia in Parar de Pararme and Dr. Arcelin in Blackface y otras vergüenzas. There is no proven direct connection between Lucrecia's death and Arcelin's claims, but in 1992, there was a significant wave of xenophobia and racism across Spain. Dr. Arcelin's actions went beyond Catalonia, with J tensions in various sectors and among different individuals, potentials leading to attacks in different parts of Spain, such as the assault of a Guinean man named Chiqui Balboa in Plaza Les Ses in Barcelona and or the murder of Lucrecia in Madrid.
I want to talk a little bit about your training as an actress. I think today we recognize that there are many Black actors and Black actresses in Spain. Um, but I imagine in the time in which you were training at the Escuela Superior de Arte Dramático in Murcia, there weren't many. So, what was that experience like for you? And how do you feel that your own positionality as a Black woman has shaped your career?
Okay, I'm gonna try one thing. Okay, really worried about if you can understand my English for Harbacete or not. And I have all the no. We was practice all the question I have writing on, but I am I for me it's very bored also, and I'm gonna try to explain, okay? But you have to be with me seriously and say, Don Pedro, if you don't understand me, okay? We try it, okay? You can talk, yes, Don Pedro, okay. How was? I study in the Escuela Superior de Arte Dramático in Murcia. I finished my studies in 2022. No, 2002, 2002, 2002. Uh, thank you, cousin. In 2002, and I spent all the time there learning the things they are not really interesting for me. I learned about Spain, I learned about Europe, I learned about United States, and all the books I was reading, all the plays we was playing was only white people around. All the writers are white, and the only blacks I found it always was from outside from Spain, no? Peter Blues in France, but in Spain it's like doesn't exist black people, or this is what they say. I remember I was trying to do a play. Oh no, how you call it? You call it audition. I want to audition for one play, Las Meninas de Velázquez. Yeah? Okay, Las Meninas is the picture, but it's a play from Antonio Buero Vallejo, no, calling Las Meninas. And I want to be La Infanta. You know, I look like a queen, of course. Um, but when I tried to be to audience there, that was impossible. I just for them, I just can be Maribarbola. Maribarbola is the an slave woman and draunismo, no? Draumis. Draumis is like I call in Spanish enanismo, no? Dwarfism, exactly, enanismo. Um, and this was, well, this is the space. I am the otherness, no? All the time. Um, yeah, because if I start talking without guion, this can be very long. Really? I think the same. Okay, we have to do it here. We have to do it. Yes, because I think I don't know if they know for that moment about Juan de Pareja, no? I really don't know because I can talk with them now. But Juan de Pareja was the slave, no, person who was working with Velázquez, and you have in the Met you have the picture of Juan de Pareja making for Velázquez a Congosa. I have a Congosa is like cotilleo. In English is gossip. Okay. I have a friend who say the pictures from Velázquez, they are not really from Velázquez. The pictures are from Juan de Pareja. Because Velázquez doesn't sign their own pictures, and they say they are. Okay. Me estoy aburriendo. I am actress. I am, it's like okay. My friend is saying that, not just my friend is the one who say that. But I think it's very interesting, no, this thing. Coming back to the question, I think now, I am thinking now, they already know about Juan de Pareja. I think nobody knows in Spain. Oh, yes, of course, a lot of people know, but this is not one information what they have and what they sharing with us. Um, For me, I wasn't until I started studying Técnica Meissner with Javier Galito Cava. Javier Galito Cava is a teacher who coming from New York. He was the first person who told me I am in the wrong way. He told me, Silvia, you are accepting things that really no, they are not like this, no, no son exactamente así. And I start thinking, what are you talking about? No, I am live here. The life is, and he opened my mind. I say, look the world. No, it's more things around there. And in that moment, I start looking for um, auto stool. How was it? No, no, no. In that moment, I start looking for without success. This is the word to join theater companies and be part of the productions. But for me, it was really difficult because I wasn't Afro-feminist in that moment, but I was reading a few books and I was reading, so you know truth, interesting woman. Okay. And I was in a feminist group, companies, and I bring that books for them. And it's not a space for, wasn't that space. No había ese espacio, no, in that moment. Um, I haven't the words to speak with them in that moment. It's just the feeling, and with this feeling is what okay. I have to look for myself, and I start study theater, and I start make how you say I formarme. I start training myself by like playwright, and how I couldn't find my place in the world, I say, okay, I have to make my own place.
I love that idea of making your own space. It's great. So now that we are in 2025, it will soon be 10 years of No Es País para Negras. And with this play, you became a pioneer, but also a role model to many Black women and Black people generally in Spain. How have you navigated that? It's a question that comes up to many Black artists and cultural producers about being a role model because we are still at a moment in Spain where any Black achievement is the first. Um, how have you worked through that in these last 10 years? And where do you see the future of No Es País para Negras?
Okay. For me, it's very curious because I start all this because I was looking for models for my daughter. No, I was pregnant and I start thinking, okay, what is gonna be their models? My models are in the United States. I was reading about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. Okay, my models are in Africa also, and I have no idea what is happening around me in Spain. And I start looking for, and in one day I, how you say, me convertí. I become, no, a model for a for a people, and this is something what I am trying still to fix in my body because feel really strange for me to be there. Um, I think one thing is happening in Spain. A lot of people are talking about this. Is like, no, we don't have models around. This is what I was thinking like 10 years ago when I started that. But this is not true. Our models is around. Our models is my family because uh, I opened a theater because my father opened a bar like 30 years ago. No, I can be here and I can do my place because my mom was fighting all day and night, and this was my model for life, no. But I think I tardé, no. For me, it was late to understand how that was working. Um, I am thinking now in the moment what why when I make No Space para Negras, I was alone. We wanna talk about this later, but it's just a play for one person, one woman soul. And I think the rest start. I don't know it was for me or not, but a lot of people start doing their own one woman show. And I say we have to finish with this. We can carry on just be alone because this is something they make us to believe that we are alone in the world. We are the only one because for a lot of times I be the only black woman in a lot of spaces, and I make that play thinking the same. And I hope in the future we change this and we start making more community plays and working together.
I think connected to that, the Afro-Argentine play No es País para Negras Dos, um, I guess for those that aren't familiar with that play, it features three women who are Black Argentines living in Buenos Aires and trying to rent an apartment, and the struggles that they have because they aren't read as Argentinas, even though they are. And they spend a lot of time talking about the power of community against the racist structures of Argentina. Um, and I found that to be really striking because, like you said, your play is so much. There's so much solitude, right? And Silvia, the character in the play, suffers alone through most of the play, even as she transforms and becomes to understand her own blackness. Whereas I think in No es País para Negras Dos, the three women are able to work together. And so I wanted to ask you a little bit about what your connection to that play is. If Alejandra Ejido, who wrote the play, how did she reach out to you? How did that come to be? And where do you see that going?
Uh, I think we have to have one no space para negras in everywhere in the world, every country. If you want to do your own no space para negras, you can do it because the sense is not mine. I hear for somebody and I just bring to the play. And when Alejandra wrote me to explain me, I want to do this in Argentina. I was really excited. I was thinking yes, no, and was curious because I didn't know what is the history he gonna tell, no, and for me it was a really surprise to see there was a company and they gonna make their own no space para negras, but all together, no, not by my own. The story for Argentina, for Afro-descendants in Argentina, the story tell like they was killing during the independence war, but the truth is wasn't like this. They are alive, and Alejandra Gido and a lot Afro Argentines are still alive, and they are direct descendants from people is esclavizada, slavery people, yeah, slavery people,
Enslaved.
enslaved people. Um, and I think they give it a strong sense of community, no, because they are together, um, working every day and trying to intentando negociar con el mundo, trying to
Negotiate with the world.
with the world, su existencia, no, trying to
Their existence, yeah.
their existence. Okay, thank you. Thank you. And they, no, this is something they give us power, no, they was together, I was alone. For this reason I told before, I grew up thinking I am the only one without I have a big family, but when my family wasn't present, I think was the only one. And I think I am me estoy perdiendo de la pregunta, ¿verdad? Estoy ya en otro sitio.
No, no, no.
¿No?
Vas
Okay,
contenta.
okay. Yes, I think this is the thing. Yeah.
Genial. So I want to talk about NYU a little bit. You are here, and I'm very happy that you are here. And thank you, Jordana, and everyone who made this possible. Um, what has it meant for you as a Afro-Española to be here at NYU, particularly in this space, um, at this center? I know you've only been here for a few weeks, but how have you felt in making this transition and entering the academy, which has its own problems, as many of us know? Um, but to be in the U.S. in this moment and at NYU, what has that meant to you?
Wow. For me, it's amazing. It's something really amazing. What I say before, no, it's like, oh, mi amor, sí, para ti también. Um, but sorry, I was saying no because it's like no, sorry, sorry. Can you help me because I am thinking three things now. Make me again the question, please.
Oh, how do you feel being here at NYU and being in this space in this particular moment?
Like this. Like I feel like this all the time. It's like for one moment I can. It's like too much things to do. It's very interesting place. I am learning every day a lot of things. I feel like I am miss it, no, miss. Me estoy perdiendo. I am miss a lot of things also, but this NYU is giving me a lot of constructions for myself. It's like I have, it's like a puzzle, no? And I puzzle, you say in English,
Puzzle?
puzzle. It's like a puzzle, and it's like if I have one. I didn't know. I didn't know. I was thinking I really complete in my. I have 48 years old, and I think I really complete in my life, and now I think, okay, I have this piece missing, no? And now in NYU, I am also recollected, no? It's like I hate the academy. I, I had to say, I always hating the academy. And now be here is sanador, healthy, healing, is really healing because it's for me it's incredible. This is what I was told saying the other day. Is really human people. Yeah, no, I know. It's really friendly, everybody, and it's make the things easier. A lot of gratitude. Yes. A big capacity to share. This is not the idea I have for academy people, no? And also I was thinking always the academy people is very bored, and it's not. No, it's very interesting. I am so happy.
That's great to hear that I mean, there are some boring people, but you are in a very good space. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mhm. Okay.
One question that I think is really important for tonight's conversation is thinking about we are having this conversation here in New York City and not in Madrid, not in Barcelona, Valencia,
Mhm.
um, where those of us who are academics who work on these topics also debate this a lot. Many of us are publishing in English and not necessarily in Spanish or in Catalan or in Euskera. Um, so, why do you think that these discussions are easier to have outside of Spain than they are in Spain? And do you see that changing much at all. I know there was the recent the exposition at the Thyssen Museum that Jason Garcia Lopez did on Memoria Colonial. Um, and there are, of course, there's Black Barcelona, there's the Afro Conciencia Festival, there's now the Espacio Afro. But these types of conversations still aren't happening on a kind of regular basis in Spain. Why do you think that is?
The first thing, I am really surprised about how many books are you writing in United States talking about black people, no, in Spain. It's amazing. Here, everybody's making her own study about us, and we don't have we don't have idea about that. No, we are think we need that information for us also there. This is something really surprised me. Another thing is the in Spain in the universities you can see a lot of black people. No, it's a few, just a few persons who arrive to the university. But when you go to the primary school, you can see hundreds and thousands of black babies. No, if something's happened during the pass of the time, they doesn't arrive to the university. Black people don't arrive to the university. One of the things happen is that for sure is the life. The life is hard for everybody, but also the structure and the teacher doesn't help to that young people to arrive there. Is one thing always, no, when we have not primaria to secondary, no, it's not primaria is primary school is 12 años, 11, 12, no, okay. In Spain, a lot of racialized people they say to them to study FP, how you call it, is like professional, not technical,
Vocational.
vocational training. No, they don't push them to go to the university because in Spain they have also the idea like racialized people don't can go to the university because they don't have enough model to black people. The proper teachers don't have that models that is just a few persons in the university, academic people. Esther Mayoko is one of them, and the thing is, the university don't pay too much for research. They have to do the research for their own, and it's a few they don't get the pay or they can do. They are doing the job, but it's really slow. This is one of the things. And another thing is that conversation in Spain, they really don't care because Spain is still thinking is white, and Spain wants to be white. Spain is like no from desde los Reyes Católicos, no, from 1492, no, they start the imperialists, no, um, and they are from that moment to now, they are with this idea. We are the only ones. They are trying to make out the Gypsy people, no, the Roma. You call them Roma people, Arab people, Jewish people, black people, brown people. We don't have that space. We are not Spanish, no. Like Quan Shu say also, no. All the black people you see here, they're gonna or brown, they're gonna say the same. In Spain, we don't count. No, we are not there. Um, I think I have another theory is because if we start talking about race, they are scared about if they have to reparate us. Yeah, because well, I don't want to go to ask money, so I don't want to reparate. But the story of slavery in Spain is also now they start saying, "No, this happened here," but they are negando, deny all the time that kind of histories, and they don't want to talk about these kind of things because more of the families, who win money during the slaves are still there. No, the structure is still there, and they are scared Oh, maybe not scared. They are worried about if something start changing, no? Si su posición, no, her position changes.
I think one thing that you mentioned about people not counting, for audience members that might not know, so in Spain, the national census does not have a question for race. And so this, from an activist position, makes things very difficult because you can't actually know how many Black people there are in Spain. There are lots of different estimates from different social science bodies in the country, but there's actually no collective data to be able to know how many Black people, Asian people, people from the Maghreb exist in Spain outside of immigration data. Right? We have immigration data, but that would not count someone like Silvia, who's not a migrant, right? And so it becomes difficult from the space of activism to be able to even imagine what the collective is when you don't have numbers to work on. And so there is a movement in Spain, a similar movement is happening in Portugal to push for a question on the census. Um, but there's always been a lot of pushback to that, in part because the lack of the question is something that comes out of World War II, and the idea that Nazis count people, right? And so many Western European governments do not have such a question. In fact, in all of the EU or Western Europe, only Ireland and the UK have such a question. But those are also countries that have much larger populations of racialized people, or the UK at least, and a growing one in Ireland. But that resistance to data is something that comes out of the Holocaust and the kind of consequences of World War II that still play out today. Um, I want to jump to a question about activism because your work has been on stages in theater, but one of the things we're starting to see is a new wave of activists that are not necessarily in the streets, but are on TikTok and on Instagram and are doing podcasts and are doing stand up comedy, and so many other types of media. Um, what is your how have you seen that change, because it's been very recent, I would say in the last 5 6 years, that there's been kind of this boom uh, of cultural production but also cultural activism in Spain.
I love it. I really love it. I am fascinada, no, with this. I am also thinking maybe I change and I start doing stand-up comedy because it's easier, no? It's not easier. It's very difficult also, but it's less costoso,
Costly.
less costless, no, than the theater. I think I really like it because you can do it in everywhere where you are. You don't have to be in Madrid or Barcelona, no. Madrid and Barcelona are the capital cities in Spain. It's like if you have to be in New York to do theater. No, you can be Pasadena to do you can be wherever you be, no, to do that things, no, in internet. And I think this is very it's very social, no, socializa, no, it's socialized the communication. And the activists also, no, is giving a chance a lot of people to say what they want to say, and they just need a camera, a telephone, no, a internet connection. And this is very important for us because it's multiplicity of words of es multiplicidad de discourses. Thank you. No, is because if not, it's always the idea. No, okay, we know one, two, or most in Spain, we know one, two, three Black people, and this is what they say, and this is what they have to how así debe ser, how to be, no, but no, with this, you can see Asadibi Bank is different from with Problema, is different from, I don't know now the names, but it's a lot of different people. La Mintior, yes, it's a man, La Mintior. No, but these really different precedents, different discourses, no, and different publics who give us, all of us, a a better idea what the black be black means. No, because what is important for one is not important for the other one, for the rest. Um, I really, well, I just have one question or one thing I am not very sure about is the humor, no? Because a lot of time the humor is not a option, is not an option, it's something what you have to do. If you want to be in this space, you have to be funny. No, if not, you can be here. No, it's something what um, I was thinking in one stand-up comedy, one Australian woman, Nanette, no, is one. He was talking about that. No, is the only condition to be is to be no humoristic in the humoristic way, and this is what is happening also to the black people. Is we go to permitir, we go to allow you to be here if you are funny. This is the only thing I have para criticar, see, but the rest I think is great.
I think that's a really interesting point. Thinking about because so many of the black stars that are coming up now, like Lamin Tior, Asari Vivang, and others, are comedians, right? And if to entertain requires you to make almost make yourself the object of humor for a majority white audience, then what are we actually doing? I wouldn't go to the extent to say that it's minstrelsy because I definitely don't think it's that. I think folks like Asari and Lamin are doing very subversive work and are dismantling structures in a very different way through comedy, but there's a fine line there that I think is important to note. I want to end before we open it up to Q&A with one last question about the future of theater, and where do you see the future of black presence in Spanish theater?
Sorry, me río de mí misma. I think the theater in Spain is throwing a difficult moment. Yes, baby, is and black theater is passing a difficult moment. How we told, I am the director of Periferia Cimarronas. Periferia Cimarronas is the first black theater in Spain. Um, and we open on 2029, no? I was thinking in 2021,
2019.
2019,
Yes.
no, 2021, 2020,
2021.
2021. Okay, thank you. 2021, and but this was 200 years later that the Grove Theater, the Grove Theater was the first black theater in New York. It's open like 5 minutes walking from here. No, 200 years later is too much time. No, I think in Spain we have a real problem if this is true, and it's really difficult for us survive because if we are arriving late, it's like everything is going really elitist. The theater, you just can do theater. You have a lot of money, and this is and the stories we are always the successful, las que tienen éxito, successful stories is what we are talking about. Pain, we are talking about comedy also, no? But I think I am really depressed. I am really depressed when I think in the future of the theater in Spain. I also trying to do black things, trying to bring the black theater there, trying to push it. But I think we have to find another way to do it because we are trying to do it in this colonial, imperialist, and capitalist way, and it's very difficult to do it in that way. I think we have to change if we want to survive. If not, we wanna start trying to fix. No, when we make periferias cimarronas, we are thinking to change the las estas del juego, las to change the rules of the games, no, in the culture, no, in yes, in the cool in the cultural world, but we are in the same place. Like, no, it's like we are integrate. No, we are like in the same place that the rest of the theaters in Barcelona. We think, of course, we are bringing place, different place, no, with black people, but I think we have to do more. I have to go more, no, um, and I think it's just I was reading here about radical theater, no, and I think this is what we have to do now is to be more radical. And in that moment, what all that stuff is happening around us, we have to change our mind because if not, the theater is gonna die.
I think with that, we're going to pass to Q&A. And I know Professor Mendelsohn has the mic.
Thank you, Jeffrey and Silvia. I wanted to tell you that I found the little snippets, the little pieces of your work very moving, muy emocionantes, como, conmovedoras. And so I wanted to ask about your creative process. And because there's a tremendous, I was very moved, for example, by the piece where you're wearing it is the more was it the moreneta, yeah, and there was the young man who I don't know, it was yeah, it reached me. So but all of them, the expressiveness of your face and the transformation in the one woman show where you play many roles, and here in this picture. So I wanted to ask, first of all, what is your creative process? And secondly, this may be a little more intimate, but how much of it comes from your body? How many of the ideas emerge from your face and from your body? Or not?
Cómoda, pues también pueden jugar un poco entre español e inglés. Like, so we can, I mean, I know they're English speakers because they're, yeah. Yeah. No, you did great. And also, we do have students in the audience who don't understand Spanish, but, we can, yeah, we can.
Sí,
Yeah, I can translate. It's fine.
yo creo que todo el mundo habla español, ¿verdad?
No,
No,
No.
I always.
Estaba probando a
I
ver
know
si.
'cause some of my students
You know
are in my
them,
class.
okay.
entonces.
Vale. Ok, sí, porque ya estoy un poco cansada. Gracias. Mi proceso de creación. Hmm. Eh, ok, voy a hacerlo como... ¿Lo hago en castellano y tú lo traduces o lo hago
Como tú quieras.
Spanglish?
Spanglish.
Okay, I do Spanglish. Okay, I think I'm gonna start with the second question because it's more what is moving me. I start all the things I do start with my body. It's going for, it's like the body. No, I think first is the feelings. I start with feelings. I feel something, and when I start feeling, okay, I have to do something with this feeling. No, where is here? Is here? Is where? No, and I start thinking what is in my body that feeling, and what I have to do with this. My place is coming always from feelings. No es país para negras is the answer for that for my daughter. It's like, okay, I need answers for them, for her. I'm gonna do this. Blackface y otras vergüenzas. I was in I was in Canarias. They told me In Canarias, we don't have racists here. We have how we call it, la negra Tomasa. Negra Tomasa is a blackface, no? They say, okay, and I start thinking, okay, how I explain to this woman, but how I explain to this woman who is really good person with me, is a white good person, no? I start feeling, thinking, okay, I have to do a play to explain that, no? Um, la moreneta, that was also like something
Visceral.
visceral,
Visceral.
yes, something visceral. I was writing this a text also. I was writing down. I was playing the. Imagine you see the things what we are wearing is the plastic way ellos le ponen no a las personas cuando llegan a la frontera sur, no. This material, this gold material, es una manta térmica, no.
It's a thermal blanket.
And it's for us is es curioso, no sería la palabra, pero creo que es un material que conflictúa, ¿no? It's really because a lot of performers use this material for different practice, ¿no? Most of them for look at beautiful, and I think ¿no? Dependiendo de quién lo utilice, ¿no? El material tiene un significado o tiene otro.
Depending on who's using the material, it could have one meaning or another.
Exacto, ¿no? Y también en el lugar. Entonces, yo las obras que hago doy muchas vueltas sobre ellas, por eso I come back one, twice, three times for the same play. No es País para Negras, estrenamos y 1 year later I come back to the same place, ¿no? Y la rehice.
Oh,
Yeah, I did it
yeah.
again.
So it had to be, it debuted, and then a year later it was rewritten and reworked.
Yeah, and this happened with all my plays. No, I always do something, I leave it, because the time pass, no, and the life pass, and when the life pass, we don't. Yo no puedo decir que no ha ocurrido, que no lo he visto. I can be in the state saying things that is not true because for me that is not show, is not a show, is not a work, is part of my life, is my true, no, it's my yeah.
Hi, thank you for the talk. So obviously, racism exists in the whole world, but I'm curious how your experience is in the U.S. versus Spain as a black woman, and I also was curious. Another two questions: um, how do mixed race people in Spain identify? I mean, it's a big question, but let's say someone who is, um, Afro-descended, but mixed race. Like, I know in the U.S. we have one conception of the one drop rule, and if you're like 10% black, you're black, right? But in Spain, I think it's a little different. So I was curious if you can just compare your experience and how is being mixed in Spain as
Thank you. Be black in United States. I know for most of the black people here, they think it's not something good. Eso es porque no habéis vivido en España. No, Spain is horrible. Be black in Spain is horrible. Be black woman in Spain is worse. Be queer black woman in Spain is like okay. Um, Here I feel like I feel like home. I go with Harlem like maybe because I am working in NYU. I am like a tourist. No, I have all the privilege, and I go to Harlem to see the people. Oh, nice to talk half an hour, 1 hour. I come back here, safe place. No, and for sure is part of this, my experience. But I don't have racial problems here in United States. I think everybody is try to be very uh, correct, no? The only people who ask me strange things is the Spanish people. No, the only who ask me or who look at me like from Spain, where, what, excuse me, is the Spanish one. The rest is okay. You are from Spain, okay. No, iba a hacer un chiste, como que la mayoría de la gente tampoco sabe dónde está España, ¿no? Es verdad, and no, they think Spain is close from Mexico, things like this. No, they, mhm. But they don't have. I don't have for that moment. I am just 1 month here, but I am hearing. No, I see what is happening in this country. I know um, about Trump. I know the movements. I know everything because for me, this is what I am trying to learn. Also, no, how the people, the black people move here and the things what they are doing to bring, not to bring to Spain, but sí para filtrar, no?
It's like
To,
filter
to
through.
filter, no, and say, okay, this is interesting for us or this is not interesting for us, no? But my feeling here, and you see here, is a lot of black people here. Okay, the truth is when I am in one space, always is a black people coming to see me, but in Spain is not. Es no, no hay mucha gente. Y la otra pregunta,
Sobre personas biraciales,
¿cómo se
identifican?
wow. Esta la voy a contestar en castellano y me la traduces, por favor, porque, bueno, yo creo que hay mucha gente que se ha asimilado a sí misma y que ha crecido creyendo que era blanca.
So there's a lot of people who have assimilated themselves and believe themselves to be white.
Y cuando llegan a una edad, 6 años, 20 años, descubren que no lo son, que son raciales.
So at some point, whether they're 6 or 20, they discover that they're racialized and they're not actually white.
Y para mucha, claro, aquí sí que está esta idea de que con una gota de sangre, ¿no? Ya eres una persona negra. En España también, pero porque no te dan la opción de ser una persona blanca. La gente birracial no puede escoger si quiere ser blanca o negra o estar de un lado o de otro. Es tachada como negra y es cosificada y tratada como tal.
So it's very similar to the one drop rule that black mixed race people in Spain don't have the option to choose. They're simply pushed into the black category and are treated as such and are objectified as such.
Y yo creo que hay problemas con las personas birraciales, pero hay incluso más problemas con las personas adoptadas, porque hay muchos niños, niñas, niñes negros que han sido adoptadas por familias blancas y creen y crecen creyendo que, bueno, sin entender muy bien cuál es su lugar en el mundo, hasta que dejan de ser pequeñas criaturas que están bajo el ala de sus madres, padres o cuidadores y se enfrentan al mundo. Cuando se convierten en adolescentes es cuando el mundo empieza a tratarlas como personas negras y es donde empieza un conflicto muy grande de identidad que está habiendo ahora mismo.
So there's obviously an issue, the problem with biracial or mixed folks, but a larger issue is that of adopted children, black children who are adopted by white families and then grow up in this kind of tutelage of their white parents, and then at some point when they become adolescents and have to face the world and are treated as black people, it creates a huge identity crisis and a lot of issues for those children. And I would say, just added to that, that the issue of adoption is something that comes up in several racialized communities. I know that there have been lots of work done on Asian communities in Spain because there was a lot of adoption in the late 80s, early 90s. And so it's a similar situation, right? That children who are raised not understanding themselves to be racialized, and at a certain point they're out in the world without their parents, and are treated in a way they wouldn't expect, right, and don't know how to handle that.
Y luego estaría que también las personas birraciales tienen esta cuestión de exotización, son más exóticas, son más exotizadas y tienen como o sea, es que no es un privilegio al final, es más, son más aceptadas porque cuanto más claro es el color de tu piel, pues eso, ¿no? Mayor es el privilegio y en España las personas birraciales están en una mejor posición que las personas de piel oscura, que entiendo que es lo mismo que aquí también.
So, mixed race people also are exotified, right, but are also seen as more socially acceptable in the same way that colorism works in the US and in many parts of Latin America. The lighter that you are, the more socially acceptable you are. And it's that way in Spain as well.
Quería saber si 10 años después de No es para negras, si has visto algún impacto en la televisión, en el tipo de audiciones que tú haces para televisión, para teatro, y si tú crees que has abierto puertas, si has podido abrir puertas a otros actores afrodescendientes en España. So the question is that 10 years after her play debuted, No es para negras, if she's seen any impact on how the auditions that she's able to do, is that opening doors for other Afro-descendant actors, and that they no longer just get the stereotypical role of like, because you're black, you'll be the cook or the maid. Like, have you seen that impact?
Claro, una de las cosas que han cambiado, que un poco va linkada con la pregunta que hacían antes de mis procesos, yo con No es país para negras ya no la puedo representar porque muchas de las cosas que yo denunciaba en esa obra han cambiado. En 10 años han cambiado. Entonces, claro, salir al escenario, dependiendo en qué lugares, para repetir discursos que ya sé que no son, no puedo hacerlo, que eso es algo para celebrar. De hecho, hace unos meses nos pusimos a mirar y había 12 personas negras en los teatros de España haciendo personajes no estereotipados. ¿Qué podéis pensar? 12 personas, pues tampoco es para tirar cohetes. 12 personas es un montón. Es un montón porque estábamos viniendo de que no hubiese ninguna persona negra, que toda la gente estuviese haciendo personajes estereotipados siempre. Estábamos hablando de cosificación, de blackface, estamos hablando de usurpación, y entonces que en este tiempo se haya producido ese cambio, bueno, es algo en lo que estamos muy contentas, yo y todas las que hemos trabajado conjuntamente para que esto ocurra, porque, ok, que yo fui como la primera, pero yo creo que hay siempre una cosa que es esta cosa de la conciencia colectiva, ¿no? Que alguien está pensando algo y más personas lo están pensando a la vez. Lo único que hay una que arranca y luego, vamos, venga, vamos, ¿no? Y hay gente que nunca se atreve, pero entonces yo creo que justamente eso es lo que nos estaba pasando en España, que estábamos todas ahí sintiendo esa pulsión en ese momento, bueno, porque tenía que llegar. Entonces yo veo también, claro, yo como tengo demasiadas opiniones, pues no puedo hacer muchas cosas en teatro o en cine, por ejemplo. Entonces a mí mi carrera pues sí que se ve como muy afectada porque yo no hago cualquier personaje ya, o sea, ya los hice. eh, y las propuestas en cine todavía no han cambiado. En teatro sí. En el mundo del teatro sí que vemos muchas, sobre todo porque hay muchas dramaturgas y muchas directoras de teatro feministas en su mayoría, feministas blancas que están, que están apostando y están haciendo un grandísimo trabajo, hay que reconocerlo. Em, Incluso están cambiando los textos de las obras, ¿no? Están hablando con sus actrices diciendo, esto que estoy contando es racismo, es racista, y la actriz le dice, pues mira, eso es algo impensable. Hace años la dramaturga, la directora, la reina, y ella decía y escribía y eso iba a misa, ¿no? Entonces hay como un movimiento ahí que me parece bueno, que es de alabar y es de felicitarlas a ellas. En el cine no pasa eso. Que estoy hablando en castellano todo el rato, ¿no?
No. Bueno,
Sorry.
no quería
Perdón.
interrumpir. All right, I'll give some cliff notes. So one of the things, important things to note that has changed over the last 10 years is that there are many more Black people who are starring roles, and those starring roles are not stereotypical roles of being the migrant, the maid, those kinds of things. But it's something that we're only really seeing in theater. It's not happening so much in film, and even folks like Lamin Tior that you mentioned earlier, just was in a pretty well-known film in which he's playing a migrant and he has the African accent that he has to put on for that film. And so it's something that we're not seeing there, but it's something that is continuing to change. Um, yes, and part of it is due to white feminist playwrights that are recognizing um, the the kind of racism within some of these plays and are changing text, and are confronting other actors and actresses about these texts in order to make them more inclusive. And so I think, yeah, even though you are concerned about the future of theater in Spain, I do think that those changes, although they're incremental, are really important for the future of theater at large and for Black theater.
Thank you so much, Silvia, Jeffrey. A reminder of the upcoming events with Silvia, her performance on February 26th and on March 13th with Ruben Bermudez, who we spoke about, and Lucia Embomio. Please join us for a reception outside where we can continue the bilingual conversations over a glass of something and some nachos. So thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you all.